This conference will now be recorded.
So hi everybody. So to give a short introduction about myself is I'm Naveen. I've been working as a performance tester. It's been 4 years. I've worked on various tools like LoadRunner, Neoload, Jmeter. I'm a certified expert in Neoload, so that's why I'm here. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah, you can just type it in the chat box.
No, we don't see your screen. Not shared.
Mm, just a moment, please. How about now?
Yeah, I can see
Mm,
it now.
yeah, now I
All,
can see.
all right, great. So, to start with the session, I'd like to walk you guys through about the Neoload course content, what we have, and how this course is designed, and how we are going to go ahead with this journey, right? So this is the content, and what we have is I have clearly mentioned on these areas, right? We'll be starting with an introduction of performance testing and introduction of Neoload. Then we'll move on to installation. Then we'll be looking at various components, design part, scripting, scenario setup, execution, right? So that's how this the entire course is going to travel. So we have two different areas. One is basic scripting and another one is the advanced scripting. So as soon as we complete with this basic scripting, we'll be moving on to scenario setup, and then execution, then analysis, then again we'll be coming back to the advanced scripting, right? The course is designed in such a way that this will enable you quickly to get ready and start working on the applications. uh, you'll be able to, like, in 2 weeks time from now, you'll be able to work on uh, work on the applications. So um, this document will be shared with you with the group or through email, right? If you guys have any question on this, you can get back to us or write an email to us, right? Now I guess we can start with a short introduction about PT. Yeah. I won't take much of time, like maybe some 10 minutes of your time, just to give a short gist about what is performance testing, and we can just quickly go through this, right? Um, so what is performance testing, and why do we need it, right? We, like, nowadays the industry, like, it is moving completely towards performance testing and performance engineering, those aspects, to keep their system or the application always up and running, so that it serves the customers, or it does not loses its business, right? So what if you want to do something, and let's say, like as it suggests, you want to book a movie ticket, and if the page does not load, you'll probably go ahead and go to a different booking website. So that is a business loss for the first one. So you see this error page, or if the page is if the customers does not get the right web page, then again it is a, see, that bad for business. And lack of proper performance testing results in loss of revenue, and yes, you'll eventually lose the customers as well. Like, so if you remember the infamous IRCTC Tatkal booking, when we used to wait for more than 10 minutes, or we never used to get the tickets, right? um, so how, so why that happens, right? So if we see, when multiple users, that is like maybe 1 lakh users is trying to access the application, so the servers won't be able to respond to all the requests, right? So that's why the application becomes slow, right? So we'll see about what is our performance testing, right? So here we have these many users and trying to access an application, right? So what they are trying to do is they are trying to load and creating a load on the application, and uh, the application's performance goes down, right, because of lot of requests. And we are also going to look at the view users. I guess everybody are aware of it. View users are that real users, but it is a simulated users, right? But creating a real user load actions, right? It's called as virtual users, and I will be using it this more extensively on this slide. So what is an architecture? It's just a combination of software and system components and connections. Yeah. Um, so what it does, right? It helps in designing like smaller and more manageable pieces of application, understanding dependencies between components. Also enables interactions. We'll check on this. Um, so if there are like, if you ask about a simple architecture, it's going to be a client server architecture. There, a server is the one which will be responding or processing your requests, right? So what is a server? It's just understands your requests, processes your requests, and send the response back if it understands whatever the request you send it to it, right? um, so here we are going to check on the speed, stability, scalability. So there are like varieties of performance testing, and based on the NFR, that is a non-functional requirements. Based on that, there is going to be multiple types of performance testing that we will be like taking. This will be done using the scenarios and settings, right? This we will see in the later part of the course, right? So the main purpose about the performance testing is to identify the bottlenecks and functionality of the application under load, right? That is like whatever the real-time functionalities that is available, it should perform, right? Um, so these are the most important terms. I'll just quickly go through this. Performance testing, non-functional requirements, response time. Response time is just the time taken for the system to respond back, right? Think time is the human thinking time, or the time taken between two different transactions, right? Pacing as well is there. Pacing probably with time taken different, time taken between different iterations, right? Throughput is just the transaction per second or bytes per second. Total throughput means it's the total bytes that is being sent and received by the um, server. So here 98th percentile again. What is 98th percentile? So if we arrange all the different types of responses, so whichever that comes at the 90th point or 90th location, that is the 90th percentile. This we will discuss again later part of the course. We'll just move on to the next slide. So it says performance testing versus performance engineering. Testing is all about identifying the bottlenecks, or you're just going to identify what is happening with the system. Performance engineering is about not just identifying but also eliminating on various levels. Like it could be code level, it could be on network level, hardware level, like that. It goes on with the engineering side, right? Here again we are just quickly going through types of performance testing that are in there. Load testing is the most common load test that has been done. Usually it is going to be an R load test under peak load. Yeah. So this we'll just skip it. Again, stress test is something that is going to be an increased load on the system. It could be around 40 to 50% high load on the existing peak load. So if the peak load, if let's assume if the peak load is around 100 users, stress testing is probably going to be 140 or 150 users on the system, right? Spike test is like like there for example, like let's say there is a scenario where everybody will try to withdraw ATM at 9 o'clock in the morning. So that is going to create a spike, right? So that is what we are going to. So all these types of tests, right, can be designed in using the scenario page, right? Endurance is used for stability, yeah. So minimum it's used for 8 hours, and it goes up to 3 days. So the main purpose is to identify memory leaks or any other connection leaks. Yes, memory leaks are nothing but when the memory gets object or classes gets allocated, it does not deallocate within the stipulated amount of time when the GCA or the other kinds of activities happens. Still, the memory usage keeps creeping up, and eventually it reaches 100%, and then the system breaks, right? So that is why we are going to do endurance testing to see the stability of the application, right? Scalability is something that we might want to check on it. That is like we can identify, understand, like maybe how much this application is able to scale, right? So maybe this year it can handle 100 users, maybe in upcoming, because the business keeps growing, right? So we can this should be able to give an idea on how in future the system is going to behave. Whether if like let's say if it says a 30% increase on the user load, what we are going to simulate is we are going to add those user load and then create the testing, right? Volume testing is mostly associated with database testing, where you will get a huge chunk of uh, Excel sheets or a lot of data which gets pushed into the database for doing all the insert, update, deleting operations, right? So we are finally come up with the life cycles, right? So what we have is, first we'll be getting the non-functional requirements, then we'll make a test strategy, then test design, then design what we'll be doing is to to give a quick idea on this non-functional requirements. What it has is mostly with the transaction details, infrastructure details, architecture details. It's all about the application and what is the purpose and objectives of the performance testing that they are going to do. And strategy is where we are going to design our workload modeling, workload distribution, uh, the workflows, traversal flows, test plans. All those things will go into that design test strategy. And test design is where we are going to develop and enhance our scripts. Text execution is what we will set up the scenario and then uh, go ahead with the execution. Yeah. Um, Test result analysis is where we will try to identify what we have, what the execution says, right? Then finally, we'll go ahead and give the benchmark and the recommendations. So this is how the entire uh, performance testing will travels around. So this is the complete life cycle. Now we will go ahead and check on the application, right? um, so this is what when we start with a new application, right? This is the main page or the main dashboard that you see, right? I'll just so I'll quickly go through what all we have with this tool, and what is the functionality of this, right? So the in design page, right? In design page, um, this is where we are going to record, enhance, and develop our scripts, right? So we have this here. We have this servers and user path. User paths are just the scripts. It is almost same as LoadRunner, where you have init actions, and it is just that Neoload is very intuitive and user friendly, where every part of the action um, that is the transactions on the page, and the requests are you can just like click and do it. Whereas in Neoload, whereas in LoadRunner, it is, you will just see a bunch of codes, and you would need to learn more LoadRunner functions, and go ahead with that, right? So this is where we will see the scripting part. So actions, this area is all about the advanced scripting, which will come in the later part of the course. Here population is where we'll be creating a population, that is like what type of the script or the user role belongs to, and then it has various other settings, right? Monitors is probably used to monitor, right? And runtime is where we are going to set up the scenario and then go for execution. So there are various other tabs. These tabs will be enabled only if we go for execution, right? Results again is the area where we are going to analyze our results. Yeah. Today we will see on a very simple recording, right? We'll see a simple recording. I will start with the recording, right? So here you see these button, right? There is this start recording button. So either you can start from here or you can start from here, right? Let me start from here, and what I'm going to, let me just keep it as it is. Internet Explorer, I'm using Internet Explorer to record. Yes. So what we see here is the recording instances, right? Where this will allow us to enter your transaction, and you can pause, stop, and you'll also be able to direct Neoload where these requests and responses should be recorded, right? So right now I'm just going ahead with the default setting. I'll say launch, and there is nothing as a LoadRunner. There is no start or end transactions as we feed in the transaction. You just have to type in launch and just leave it just like that. And as the browser gets any network traffic, it Neoload automatically puts those traffic into the whichever the transaction that you mentioned here, right? So I'll just go ahead with this go on page. So now we have launched. Let's say sign in. So I'm signing in now. I'll feed in the username and password, right? Okay. What I'll do is I'll just sign out. Yes. Yeah, I've signed in. Now I'll just stop. There is a stop button here. I'll stop it. So as soon as we complete the recording, we'll get this post recording wizard, right? This wizard will have all the set of websites or the network traffic that has gone forth and back. Yeah, here we'll be able to select whichever our desired servers. Yeah, usually Google APIs, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media handles are automatically, Neoload is just smart that it automatically does not record. It does not even show it here. Okay, it just shows what is required. In some cases it may show it. So what we are going to do is we'll just go ahead and say next, and this we will come back once again. So this is about searching for a dynamic parameters, or it is like a autocorrelation, right? Either you can select this and do an auto correlation, or we can just go ahead and skip this step. For now, I'm going to skip this step. We'll come back and I will there is going to be a separate session on dynamic parameters and framework rules, and yeah, framework rules and the dynamic parameters. So right now I'm just going to skip this step, and here this is the step where this will allow you to use the recorded think time, whatever that Neoload has recorded, or you can overwrite all the think times to a specified uniform timer, right? Or this also allows you to set in some variable if you have already created here. Right now I'll just go ahead with this use recorded think time, and then I'll finish it. Okay, so after finishing it, if you guys think, okay, maybe if you want to once again like if you want to see if there is any parameter because you have just lost with the uh, wizard, what you can do is you can again click this, and once again the dynamic parameters will comes up. You can go ahead and check it, right? With this, so as soon as we have recorded, it is advised to create a duplicate copy, right? As soon as you record, that is, there is nothing, no enhancement has been done here. So this we'll call it as a baseline, or the first recording without any enhancements. Nothing has been gone into it. So what we are going to do is we'll just create a duplicate copy, and we will name it as a D1, right? So why do we do this? Just in case if we make any accidentally, if we delete, or if the something goes wrong, you have a original copy which you can just further again you can go ahead and duplicate, and then start with your enhancements and your other uh, activities, right? So let's see what 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 all these components, right? So the first thing what you see this there is a, person type icon. Okay, this is just the user path, right?
Now, Naveen,
Yeah.
this is Rajnish. You just said like we should copy one user path one. Like after that, what you did? You just paste it over here.
No, just right click this and then click duplicate.
Okay, okay, got it.
Just click duplicate, it will create another duplicate automatically.
Okay, correct. Thank you.
Okay, great, sure. So where were we? Yeah, so you see this human type icon. So this is like a user path. This is called as user path. Here we have a three uh, blue color folder type icons, which means is the parent folder, right? How we have it in LoadRunner, similarly we have it in Neoload. This we also have this yellow color folder. These are nothing but the transactions, right? Um, in each transaction there is uh, a, a type of icon. This is with a globe symbol. This is the page, right? And further in this page, these are the individual requests that belongs to this particular page, right? The first request that we have is a catalog here, and the rest of the requests are just nothing but the embedded resources, right? Usually the embedded resources are disabled. That is, we are not going to look at it. So what I will do is I'm going to develop this a little bit. So I'll disable this, right? So this is how we are going to enable or disable. So I can select everything. I can right click, enable. If you again click on enable, it's just disable, right? It is as simple as that, where you will get complete control on each and every request, where you can enable, disable, you can cut this, you can move this around, I can keep it outside. It is as simple as that. There will be also this cut copy will be very useful. Sometimes let's say I have accidentally deleted this, right? So I don't have this. So I don't need to go ahead and let's say I have completed all the recording on this, I mean, sorry, all the enhancement on this particular DEV1, but accidentally I deleted this request. So what I'll do, I'll go back, I'll just copy this, I'll come back, I'll paste this. I can move on, put it, right? So it is very intuitive, and as I've told you, it gives a complete control, and it is just quite simple to move around, right? So in this request, let's see what all we have in the right side. Yeah. So the type, what it says is, see, there are like 4 different types that we have. One is user manual definition, which means it is like we are sending the request, right? Follow the redirect of the previous request, which means already a request has been triggered, and this is the continuation of the previous requests. Follow a link from previous request, it's also a similar way, right? And this is a submitting a form, right? This we will come back on this because we are likely to uh, look oh yes, so here we have this, right? So this is the main uh, request, and this is the subsequent request which follows this request. So sometimes what happens in some cases, even the follow-up request will have a lot of dynamic variables or dynamic parameters that you would need to handle, and the way how we are going to handle is, we'll probably have to change this to a manual and to find if there is any parameters that is getting passed. Looks like there is nothing here, and then come back with the original request type. This we will come back to once again. Sorry, I just jumped. So as I go, I'll just go ahead and I'll start the enhancement. I will again go ahead, right click, disable it, right? These are the again embedded resources which I don't need it. And here looks like this is a valid request, and this is a follow-up of this request, and again these are the embedded resources here. Next, sign out. This is the actual request, this is a follow-up of this request. So these are the, so now what we have just did is, we have just filtered what the required requests, right? So how are we going to check whether if this is okay, whether if this particular sorry Jaypal,
What do you mean by embedded request type? Actually, what is that actually? Where do we need to disable it?
just a moment. Yeah, so it is embedded resources, right? Yeah. So embedded resources are nothing but the these, see, we see these resources, right? CSS files, GIFs, icons, PNGs, all these are the images, JS files, and the other files which are like, we are going to disable it, right? We are not going to check the performance of those resources, but again it depends on your non-functional requirements. whereas sometimes your customer would want you to look or even benchmark on these, to simulate the real load actions. They would want you to have all these embedded resources gets loaded, and to have the proper page rendering as well, right? So it really depends on the customer and what their requirements are, their objective on their purposes, right? Here what we are seeing is, but generally we do not enable this, right? So this is what embedded resources. If you have more questions, you can type it in. I'll explain as we go, or else we can have a separate, or we can stay back in the last some few minutes and then we can go ahead with that, right? So where were we? Yes. So we were how we are. So we have done the successful recording right now, right? So after we have done this, we should be able to check whether if this particular script is working as expected. Yeah. So you see this here. There is an icon called check a user path. So let me go ahead and click this. So check the user path validity, right? So there is going to be a separate session on this. Right now what I'll do is I'll just quickly go ahead and start checking. So when we replay, it is like how we have in LoadRunner. We're just going to replay whatever that we have done, the recording or the enhancements that we have done. So let's see how Neoload replays. So looks like there is an error. So it says like here in the top right corner, it says the user path dev1 contains one error, right? So what I'll do is, there is a button here, right? Go to next year. I'll just go ahead and click on this directly, which will navigate to the place where the error happened. So looks like in login _1, in login the error has happened. So in the left pane we will be able to see the complete script and the flow and where the error has happened. So after so this is the place where the error has happened. So what I'll do is I'll just right click and click on select in design, right? If I click on this, it will directly navigate to the select in design, right? So here what we are seeing looks like there is a CSRF token, username and the password, right? So what do we have to do? I think everybody knows. We have to handle this dynamic variable, right? So what I have done is I have just copied this. There are two methods to correlate, but there is going to be a separate session. I'll just quickly show you how this is done, right? So what I'll do is there is a flag requests here. You see this, there is a tick mark flag requests. This is like a search option, or you're just searching your script, right? So there are various options that we have. We are going to look at this extensively on later part of the class. Right now I'll just go ahead and paste this correlated value or the dynamic variable. So looks like this is the first occurrence that it has happened, and so which means this particular value gets generated at this particular response, right? So here you see this, there are three buttons here, like apply SLA, advanced and validation. So what I'm going to do is I'll just click on the advanced variable extractors. Let's say CSRF, and I have just clicked on plus. I'm going to add it. So starting with, I'll click on this, I'll paste the variable here. Looks like we have identified, so this is going to be your left boundary, right? And So here, if we see the value extracted from the recorded content, it not only extracted the value, but also it has some extra values here, right? Which means we have to give a right boundary. So ending with is what we are going to give here. Just select this part. I'll just say pick selected. I'll say okay. Now, like how we have to Neoload also allows us to replace, like automatically search and replace. So I'll just click on this. So it says number of returned instances is 1. That is, Neoload has found there is one location where it has found that exact value. So I'll say replace manually and replace. Either you can replace all that moment if you are so sure, else you can just click replace manually and then go around and you can replace each and every place if it is more instances that have been occurred. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and start with a quick replay on this, right? So I'll say start checking. Now let's see like how Neoload behaves, right? Okay, so looks like Neoload has successfully captured the value and it has passed down to this request. Yes. So yeah, do you guys have any questions? This is what like it's very simple, like how we have just done a simple recording and then did a simple enhancement. We will, there is more to it. We will slowly start exploring on the other area, right? Just for introduction, I had to show you how a simple recording and the replay is done. So if you guys have any questions, you can start shooting. And yeah.
Naveen, Jaypal,
Yeah.
what are all the protocols that are supported by Neoload?
HTML, HTTP, SAP, and few other protocols. Yes, SAP GUI. Neoload does not have a variety of protocol like how we have in LoadRunner. It has a very limited protocols.